where the soil holds the secrets of generations, and where dreams are sown alongside seeds, a new generation emerges. Welcome to Young Seeds. Get ready to embark on a journey like no other as we shine a spotlight on the dynamic and inspiring young farmers in the heartland of Zimbabwe.
I want to do it because plants will die, plants will get infected by diseases.
I tried to do mixed farming, that is also putting tomatoes. I have half a hectare of tomatoes.
Every 40 days it has to be giving birth.
Produce a good quality fruit size. Calves are kept in different pens, basically so that they don't spread diseases to each other.
My name is Tarios Gauke. I'm a rabbit farmer.
These young farmers are revolutionizing traditional practices, embracing technology, and finding sustainable solutions that will shape the future of agriculture. So, let's get our hands dirty.
Good evening, I am Wadzanai Sansole and you're watching Newsplus right here on ZTN Prime. It's time to catch you up on what's been happening around the world. We start with the headlines. Zimbabwe's leader, President Emmerson Mnangagwa, has joined other world leaders in mourning the death of Roman Catholic leader Pope Francis. We give you the president's message. A new generation of smart silos is being introduced across Zimbabwe. We will take you to Kwekwe, where the first of such facilities is set to be operational at the end of this month. Operations at a top Harare police station have been severely affected for 4 days due to a power outage. Police say they've since resorted to other alternatives while a solution is being worked out. That story right here on Newsplus. And in sport, Lloyd Chitembwe has been given a 2-match ultimatum to turn around the team's fortunes or face the chop. That and more later in the bulletin. President Emmerson Mnangagwa has joined other world leaders in mourning the passing on of the Roman Catholic Church leader, Pope Francis. Pope Francis died on Easter Monday, April 21, 2025, at the age of 88 at his residence in the Vatican's Casa Santa Marta. He had suffered a serious bout of double pneumonia this year, but his death came as a shock after he had been driven around St. Peter's Square in an open-air Pope mobile to greet cheering crowds on Easter Sunday. In his condolence message, President Mnangagwa said, I quote, "I join the world in mourning the passing of His Holiness Pope Francis, a man of profound humility who stood for peace, compassion, and justice. We extend our heartfelt condolences to the Catholic Church and Catholics around the world. May his soul rest in eternal peace." Close quote. Now, as you can imagine, condolences continue to pour in around the world. Churches in Zimbabwe have also joined the mourning of the late Catholic Church leader. More from the following report.
After blessing hundreds of congregants at an Easter Sunday appearance, Pope Francis breathed his last in the early hours of today. The Vatican confirmed that the man of faith had been struggling with chronic lung disease for some time. His tenure as the 266th Pope began in 2013. Tributes from countries across the world describe him as a man whose legacy is marked by humility, compassion, and a commitment to social justice. Churches in Zimbabwe are also joining the Vatican in mourning the death of the Pope. Council of Churches in Africa leader Archbishop Rocky Moyo recounts a personal encounter with the Pope a couple of years ago in the Vatican. He says he remembers his kindness the most.
He's been a loyal servant to God, and we really love to work with him. One day we went there as Zimbabweans. We were just pastors from Norway, and they allowed us to go there. We're not Roman Catholic churches, but we're just pastors from Zimbabwe. We managed to see him, and he's a wonderful man.
The Federation for Indigenous Churches in Zimbabwe is also joining Catholics in mourning the Pope. President of the organization, Reverend Matthias Tsine, says the Pope will be remembered for his acts of social justice, which are reflected in the local Catholic Church.
His legacy is reflected by the relationship that we enjoy with so many of the Catholics here in Zimbabwe, being them individuals and the Catholic organization. As you know, as an organization of indigenous churches, we draw our inspiration from the Catholic establishment.
The Roman Catholic Church in Zimbabwe's head office is yet to speak on the death of their leader, but the Harare Diocese under Archbishop Robert Ndlovu will hold a mass this Thursday in honor of the Pope. He has extended this invitation to other priests and Roman Catholics in Harare. Following Pope Francis' death, the Catholic Church has entered a period of mourning. His burial is expected to take place within 6 days. Meanwhile, cardinal electors will gather in Rome to decide on the date to elect a new pope. Cheryl Mujinjema for CTN News in Harare.
Meanwhile, following the death of Pope Francis, Cardinal Kevin Farrell has become the acting head of the Roman Catholic Church, a role he will uphold until a new pope is elected, according to the Vatican. Cardinal Farrell announced the death of the Pope this morning. And Farrell is currently the Camerlengo, the person who runs the Vatican from the death or resignation of one pope to the election of another. He will also preside over the rite of the confirmation of death and place the Pope's body in a coffin. Dublin-born Farrell was appointed Bishop of Dallas in 2007 before Pope Francis called on him to serve as the leader of the Vatican's new department responsible for the pastoral care of families and raised him to the rank of cardinal. And in 2019, Pope Francis nominated him Camerlengo of the Roman Catholic Church. Now moving on to a story on power outages. Operations at Harare Central Police Station have been severely affected for 4 days now due to an electricity blackout. It is said the Zimbabwe Electricity Supply Authority has been unable to restore the power. The police say they have put in place alternative sources of power while they work out solutions with the Zimbabwe Electricity Supply Authority.
We have received the concerns from some members of the public with regards to the electricity situation at Zeterapi Harare Central. I want to assure the public that we are working closely with the Zimbabwe Electricity Supply Authority, the officials, in terms of addressing the situation. But as we speak, we have got a generator facility which is being utilized to provide the necessary power at the police station. So the public should not panic. The situation is under control.
Meanwhile, the Zimbabwe Republic Police has reassured the nation and international partners that Zimbabwe remains peaceful and safe for all economic activities, including the ongoing Zimbabwe International Trade Fair, ZITF, which started today. This comes amid calls from certain individuals on social media to conduct a stay away across the country. Commissioner Nyati says they will be tough on individuals who want to disturb the smooth flow of traffic and business.
In terms of the security situation in the country, we want to reiterate to Zimbabweans and the visitors. We know currently the country is hosting the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair Exhibition Forum, which has started today in Bulawayo. The security situation is normal. The security situation is conducive for all socio-economic activities to take place. And in this regard, I want to urge Zimbabweans, including visitors, including exhibitors, to continue with their activities. their planned activities, as the police has put adequate security measures in place for their safety. And we will arrest anyone who will try to interfere with the smooth flow of traffic, who will try to interfere with the activities of the people.
Now, as just mentioned, the 2025 edition of the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair kicked off in Bulawayo today, drawing exhibitors from across the globe. Both first-time and returning participants are expressing high hopes for new business opportunities, knowledge exchange, and strong sales. Our business reporter Melissa Chatikobo has more.
As the first-time Robert Nyati, a poultry farmer from Matabeleland North, is exhibiting at the country's premier trade fair. His chickens cost about $100 each, and one egg from the bird costs about $3. With several business conferences, workshops, and innovation showcases lined up throughout the week, the excitement is only just beginning. He anticipates the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair will bring fortune in his capital-intensive business, as he will get to learn how to export his chickens.
Isifiso sethu iku-exporta inkukhu lezi zihambe emazweni. Kulabantu ababuyayo bevele emazweni, i-chance yabo ukuthi bebone ukuthi what they can get eZimbabwe. Ezinye nje bazithola bezithole bengakwazi ukuthi ziproducer ngobani.
Skills transfer, networking, and mega deals have been the norm for Tafana Nachiwashera, a poultry breeder who is selling his chickens for $200 per bird. He says the fair has given him motivation to increase his production.
The reason why we exhibiting is because we want to learn from other breeders, because they income another breeders, so we learn, because they'll be a judging of poultry at the end of the day.
The first day started on a positive note. While some were still setting up their stalls, institutions like the Joshua Mqabugo Nkomo Polytechnic was already making good sales of its innovative products. They're confident that the 2025 edition will be a better performer than last year.
We are looking forward for business, commercialization, as the theme says. We're here to industrialize. We are here to commercialize. As you can see, we have a lot of products. We have already started selling. We've already started marketing ourselves. Really, we have a lot of things.
Traditional exhibition space is 100% full, and the ZITF company has prepared extra space to accommodate the high volume of exhibitors, currently standing at 596. There are about 45 direct international exhibitors with 28 countries represented in the show. Reporting for ZTM Prime, I am Melissa Chatikobo in Bulawayo.
Now, it is a new dawn for the Zimbabwe agricultural sector. That story and more right ahead.
And unoona kana zvinhu zvakadayoka zvinobva zvatinewe fofa kudayo izvozvo final demand yandatumirwa nesitokadzo hanzi ndibhadhare chikwereti ndozvifambisa sei ndine urwere
wakachera iri final demand unofanira kutobhadhara imba inotorwa
ndozvifambisa sei izvezvi kubhengi kunenge uchida unomirwa line pedzezvo kanzuro kuda umirwa line apa ndine urwere ndoita sei
kutsvuka bedzi asi wakasara kudai auzizive kuti akuchina zviya zvokunzi kwai kunomirirwa kuenda kumahofisi kuti unobhadhara kanzuro kanzuro yekuti unobhadhara izvozvi nemaplatforms akawanda ari paya through pay now unogona kubhadhara neEcoCash, One Money, FBC Online, CBZ Touch, kana kuti unogona kuita iri bank transfer cash. Account yavo number ndakutoiziva nomusoro ndiyo yandoshandisa every month iyi caps 10036552211. Wapedza kudaro wakutoita kuindisa proof of payment pa email pa rtgs@hararicity.co.zw. zvoga izvo wakagara ipapo pauri ipapo kumba kwako unogona kutongobhadhara kanzuro hazvichamiri nguva unoenda kumaofisi
chibva watouya ubva watondiitira
utongobhadhara online
zvichiri zvokubhadhara chikwereti kubva wati neni kwati
We're coming to you live from Harare, and you are still watching Newsplus right here on ZTN Prime. Now, over the years, Zimbabwe has lost grain estimated at $32 million annually due to outdated storage systems vulnerable to moisture, pests and spoilage. But now the landscape is changing. A new generation of smart silos is being introduced across Zimbabwe. Our correspondent Thesius Shambare traveled to Kwekwe, where one of such facilities is expected to open at the end of this month.
Imagine a technology that can determine the amount of air that is within the grain silos, that can determine when and how it can protect its precious contents.
Here at the Grain Marketing Board's depot in Kwekwe, the first of its kind in Zimbabwe, utilizing artificial intelligence for food security is now a reality. Tasked with managing the construction progress of this crucial facility and ushering in of this new era of grain preservation is engineer Andrew Mpariwa.
This whole system is highly automated. That's artificial intelligence we are talking about. So we are saying there's no more need to have people roaming around. Everything is controlled from one CPU. This is modern technology for storing our grain. We are moving away from the open storage where we have been experiencing a lot of losses because the grain is exposed to the sun with a lot of heat. Our bags tear off as a result of excessive heat.
The impact of these storage losses has been felt most acutely by the farmers who would be turned away for bringing in grain with moisture content more than 12.5%.
taiti tikaunza chibage kuGMB dzimwe nguva taitodzokera nacho chinzi chibage chenyu chinyoro saka zvinozokuomerawo semurimi waauya nacho wodzokera nacho tatichitambura tikange tauya nezvirimwa zvedu pamba china zvinenge zvauya in bulk saka tachizoshaya kuti chibage choenda kupi nenyaya kuti chinenge chakawanda.
Mavis Burundia, a local farmer in Kwekwe, reckons the introduction of these cutting-edge silos brings a sense of much-needed financial relief for farmers.
Kumaruzeva taitambura kuti kana taakuda kunokuwa takanga tisina masagi. Saka mari dzacho dzaitinetsa dzekuatsvaga apa takungoendesa chibage chedu chisiri mumasagi. Saka hatichisina stress yekutsvaga mari yekuti tiendese chibage chiri Masagi.
Zimbabwe have been losing grain worth over $32 million US every year due to outdated and insufficient storage facilities.
We will be accepting grain with moisture content above the recommended moisture content of 11 to 12%. The drying facility come as a welcome move because we are also going to be managing time.
Rains, manual handling and pests are big factors to these losses. Chief Director of Agricultural Engineering in the Ministry of Agriculture, Engineer Edwin Zimunga, said a strong strategic grain reserve is not just a goal, but a necessity.
We are reducing, post-harvest losses in storage by around 7%, and that reduction ultimately, if you look at the National Strategic Grain Reserve of Zimbabwe, will culminate in savings of more than $32 million US per annum, which is why it was very imperative and important to actually invest in such infrastructure.
For a nation striving for food security, Zimbabwe requires a substantial 2.2 million tons of grain annually. The coming online of all the remaining new silos is expected to add a total of 780,000 metric tons to the current capacity of 650,000 metric tons by 2026.
So in total, those 14 sites, we are looking at about $25 million per site. And what we are seeing currently and what we have seen is Kwekwe Depot, which is already complete. And all the other projects, the other 14 sites are in various stages of completion.
From the losses that have been endured under tarpaulins to these AI-powered silos, Zimbabwe is investing in ensuring that grain is not lost. Reporting for ZTN Prime, I am Thesius Shambare.
And in news just received, the Public Service Commission says it has noted with concern the recent incitements circulating on various platforms encouraging public servants and other citizens to stay away from work or abstain from their regular activities on 22 and 23 April 2025. The Commission says it is confident that public servants will not be misled by such reckless and disruptive incitements and continue with their mandate without interruption. The Commission added that all public servants, except for those that are already on duly authorized leave, are expected to report for duty at their designated workstations, observe normal working hours, and where necessary, work beyond official hours in fulfillment of their duties. Now, we've just come out of the Independence and Easter holidays, which are normally associated with a number of road accidents, with some attributed to human error and failure to adhere to road traffic regulations. The Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe deployed its teams around the country, and they will continue working for indefinite period, even after the holidays. More in the following report.
Traffic Safety Council says it will continue its operations on the roads beyond the Easter and Independence holidays. This is to ensure smooth travel as people and pilgrims travel back to their different destinations. The move is also meant to continue raising road safety awareness as people travel to Bulawayo for the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair. The efforts put by the Traffic Safety Council during these holidays seem to have yielded the desired results. They remain committed to ensuring the safety of the general public on the roads.
Preliminary indications indicate that the number of accidents have so far reduced compared to the same period last year, but we are also conscious of the pressure that this time around, as we move out of Easter holidays, which was combined, by the way, with Independence holidays, we are now going to set ITF. So we are not stepping down. We will continue to enforce.
In a nationwide road safety campaign, the Zimbabwe Traffic Safety Council has deployed teams across the country in collaboration with other stakeholders to educate drivers and reduce road accidents. The initiative comes as thousands of people travel from different destinations for Easter, Independence holidays, and the ongoing ZITF in Bulawayo.
We are conscious of the fact that during the holidays there's increased traffic and movement all over the country. So as part of the interventions, we have about 42 teams that are on the roads throughout the country. These are combined teams: Traffic Safety Council, ZRP, VID, and RMT.
Public service vehicles will be of much interest to the authorities to ensure compliance and safety of the general public. Buses and commuter omnibuses have frequently been involved in yesteryear's fatal accidents.
For this time around, we are doing both educational awareness campaigns, but also enforcement, ensuring that, particularly targeting the public service vehicles, to ensure that they have all the paperwork that is required, the defensive driving certificate for the driver, the vehicle fitness itself. So we are doing all these vehicle checks to ensure that, as a joint team, to ensure that we have a safer travel for our members.
While some major roads have been rehabilitated, there is still work to be done on the roads. Driving at night can be a challenge as visibility decreases.
We continue also to encourage them to travel during the day to the extent that they can, because visibility is somewhat impaired during the evenings.
Authorities are urging motorists to rest adequately before long trips, obey speed limits, and exercise caution to help maintain the downward trend in road accidents. The safety teams are expected to remain on the roads throughout the trade fair period. Tavaras Bochiwe for ZTN Prime.
And still on law enforcement, 2 police officers captured on a video that went viral on social media of a female police officer allegedly accepting bribes from suspects before releasing one have been arrested. National Police spokesperson Commissioner Paul Nyati said Constable Muran Mupandira and Chirenge Ndure are facing both disciplinary and criminal charges for this crime they committed in Harare's Central Business District. And up next is our courts roundup with Kimberly Chimbalanga.
3 more armed robbers involved in the armed robbery that occurred at Wigno Chivayo's in-laws farm in Marondera last month have appeared in court and remanded in custody. Besides the other 8 counts of armed robbery, they are alleged to have manhandled the security personnel before force-marching them into the premises. They are said to have went away with over $85,000 cash and property valued at $5,010. They were advised to approach the High Court for bail application and to return to court on 5 May. Moving on, a 34-year-old Harare man, Naison Rapiao, has been dragged to court for allegedly assaulting his mother. Allegations are that the accused got angry after his mother had questioned him on the reasons he had locked the door in the afternoon. He is alleged to have punched her, leaving her with a swollen eye. He was remanded in custody to 22 April to ascertain if he needs to be mentally examined. Still at the courts, a Harare man, Last Sante, has been charged with reckless driving and assault after he was intercepted by the police driving in the opposite direction of a one-way. Allegations are that as the police officers were taking the accused and his accomplice to the station, the accused snatched the officer's baton and began assaulting her. He is alleged to have kicked the parking officers and a municipal officer before he tried to flee from the scene, heading in the direction his accomplice had taken. He was remanded to 22 April for plea recording. For TN Prime, I'm Kimberly Chimbalanga in Harare.
Now, when Newsplus returns, we'll give you more updates on the stories from the world around us.
Stuck on you. Ooh, obsessed with you. I'm obsessed.
With Showmax, your favorite characters now follow you anywhere. Download it today and watch the best in local, international, and everything in between.
Didn't graduate? I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
The guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Harare, tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
Thank you for staying tuned to Newsplus right here on ZTN Prime. Now, in the first hour of our bulletin, we gave you a story on the death of the Roman Catholic leader, Pope Francis, and also how it's a new dawn for Zimbabwe in the agricultural sector and the power outages at the Harare police station. And continuing with our global stories, a Nigerian agricultural economist has stressed that food security relies on production paired with improved infrastructure. This was after Nigerian President Bola Tinubu declared a national emergency on food security security. The call comes as Nigeria grapples with a food security crisis, with 33 million people facing acute food insecurity in 2025, a number predicted to nearly double according to the United Nations World Food Programme.
The price has really gone up compared to before. I used to buy like half trailers of beans before at each bag for 45,000, and I would sell them on less than 2 weeks. Now I can't even buy up to 50 bags, and each bag of beans is now 125,000. With the increase in price, now most people don't even buy like before.
Food security is beyond production. It is ensuring that there is a balanced table for both production and consumption. So if we get it right at the right time, then we make it a system that will continue to grow over the years. We should be food sufficient as a nation. We need to check infrastructure. And if we want to say the truth without mincing words, we'll say that there's a lot of depth in infrastructure. And if I say infrastructure, I'm talking to storage and logistic-wise. If all of these are merged together, and the government is playing their role very well, then we will be able to be food secure. And not just being food secure, we'll be able to even affect positively all the nations across our borders in Africa today.
Now, Lesotho, one of the world's least developed countries as classified by the United Nations, is facing steep hurdles now in its textile exports in the wake of U.S. sweeping reciprocal tariffs. Lesotho's economy heavily depends on textile exports, particularly to the United States. But under the new tariff regime, its garments are now subject to a staggering 50% duty. In the capital city, Maseru, the founder of a major garment factory warned that the high tariffs will deliver a crippling blow to the country's already fragile economy.
These tariffs comes as a shock to us, to our business, to Basotho, to Lesotho as a country and its economy. No buyer will consider coming to Lesotho to put their orders on the tariff of 50%. So basically that is out. That means the business stops. We need to soldier on. We need to look for other markets.
And from Lesotho to South Sudan, a Chinese representative to the United Nations Security Council has said China calls on all parties to the South Sudanese conflict to cherish the achievements made in the peace process and the international community to increase its assistance to the war-torn country.
关于当前重振协议的局面，令人遗憾。中方呼吁南苏丹各方增进团结，停止敌对行动。 加快落实协议各项安排，坚持政治过渡的正确轨道。我们愿同国际社会一道，继续为南苏丹和平稳定。
Meanwhile, China's peacekeepers based in South Sudan and Lebanon have provided humanitarian aid, including educational supplies, cultural performances, and free clinic services benefiting local communities in both countries. They gave aid to a primary school in Wau, located about 17 kilometers from the Chinese peacekeeping camp. And the school faces severe shortages of teaching facilities, with some students having to take turns using textbooks due to the prolonged conflict.
提供人道主义援助，帮助改善孩子们的学习条件，让他们在和平环境中茁壮成长。
Ukraine and Russia have accused each other of breaching a now expired Easter truce, which was announced by Russian President Vladimir Putin on Saturday. Putin declared a unilateral Easter truce, stating that it would begin at 1800 hours local time on Saturday and last until midnight on Sunday into Monday. However, Russia and Ukraine accused each other of breaching the 30-hour truce, with both sides blaming the other of carrying out multiple attacks. The Russian Defense Ministry said that it repelled Ukrainian attacks overnight, remained at previously occupied lines and positions, while Ukrainian troops attempted to attack the positions of Russian troops overnight. And also, Houthi-run health authorities reported that the death toll from the strikes, which targeted the port and several concrete tanks used for storing imported fuel, has risen to 80, with 150 other people wounded. The victims are workers at the port, including 5 paramedics, and the port, which is now a scene of desolation, has been rendered inoperable with burned trucks, shattered fuel tanks, and debris-laden yards standing as remnants of the destruction.
أثناء من الناس شغالين والأمور كلها يعني على ما يرام الوضع طبيعي عندنا كان جالس والناس بتشتغل وبتعمل والعمال كدول يعني قدر العمال يعني خيرات ما همش هذا واجى الطيران في وقت باغت الطيران الأمريكي واستهدف المواطنين أصبح أشلاء بعد مسافات بعضهم وصلوا للبحر الأشلاء قد تراثر للبحر.
ميناء راس عيسى تعرض إلى عدوان غاشم وسلسلة غارات عنيفة وهذا انتهاك للمواثيق والقوانين الدولية وهذا بسبب إفلاس العدو الأمريكي إفلاس كبير. أما الأضرار أنت شايف يعني أضرار بليغة في الممتلكات الخاصة في الأرواح في البنية التحتية أضرار بليغة.
We will be right back with our business stories.
It's an experience and a half.
What are we looking at?
Thank you guys for joining us for this unforgettable night.
Paw Patrol is on a roll.
It's Max Verstappen in the lead. The megastar is here.
Absolutely sensational.
Let's go!
It was such a success.
The rest is history.
Get unbelievable entertainment that is unbelievably easy to own. Get and stay connected to DSTV.
In a land where traditions run deep, where the soil holds the secrets of generations, and where dreams are sown alongside seeds, a new generation emerges. Welcome to Young Seeds. Get ready to embark on a journey like no other as we shine a spotlight on the dynamic and inspiring young farmers in the heartland of Zimbabwe.
I want to do it because plants will die, plants will get infected by diseases.
I tried to do mixed farming, that is also putting tomatoes. I have half a hectare of tomatoes.
Every 40 days it has to be giving birth.
Produce a good quality fruit size. Poly calves are kept in different pens, basically so that they don't spread diseases to each other.
My name is Tarios Gauke. I'm a rabbit farmer.
These young farmers are revolutionizing traditional practices, embracing technology, and finding sustainable solutions that will shape the future of agriculture. So, let's get our hands dirty.
In our first business story, businesses and economic analysts have welcomed the sweeping changes to Zimbabwe's exchange control regulations, saying it is a positive step toward market liberalization. Statutory Instrument 34 of 2025 has removed penalties for pricing goods and services above the official exchange rate, a shift that has sparked optimism across the private sector. Our business reporter, Eben Mabunda, has more.
After the government repealed Statutory Instrument 81 of 2024 through the gazetting of SI 34 of 2025, the private sector has responded with cautious optimism. The change means businesses will no longer face legal penalties for setting prices above the official willing buyer, willing seller rate, a restriction that many in industry say was distorting market realities. The Zimbabwe National Chamber of Commerce, one of the largest industry bodies in Zimbabwe, has welcomed this development.
It's certainly a very welcome development. I think you talk to anyone in business, one would have said way overdue. But I also think that we should be maturing as a market. So all economic agents, private and public, at this particular point in time, I think what we should be looking at is where we're no longer talking about price controls.
ZNCC says the move is a step closer towards a market-determined exchange rate.
I think what I can certainly say that we are happy about, especially as the Chamber, is that we do seem to be making progressive steps towards a free-floating currency. As I indicated, that it is understood that we've got a new currency. It is understood that we've got to build on the confidence.
Economists have echoed the sentiment, arguing the shift aligns Zimbabwe with best practices for exchange rate management in liberalized economies.
The exchange rate is 100% free. No one will be arrested for buying or selling US dollars against the ZiG at their own rate, as long as it's the market now which is going to determine.
While the long-term impact of the policy shift remains to be seen, many stakeholders believe it could improve competitiveness, reduce arbitrage, and promote a more predictable business environment.
If the MPS had managed to reduce the parallel exchange rate to about 33, 35, thereby reducing the premium, with that X there, it means now that without the X, people now, the confidence can actually be reinforced to further reduce the exchange rate premium.
With the penalties scrapped, the focus now shifts to how quickly the formal and informal markets respond and whether the exchange rate will stabilize as a result. For now, the move has been broadly welcomed as a win for business. The question now is, how quickly will the market react to this new reality? Amibe Nabunda, reporting for ZTN Prime in Harare.
Zimre Holdings Limited Group reported a strong financial performance, with their net profit for the year ended 31 December 2024 surging 471% to $10.33 million. And in a statement accompanying the financial report for the period under review, Zimre Board Chairman Desmond Matete said the growth was underpinned by the performance of life and pension, reinsurance, and the real estate businesses. Financial analyst Kenneth Ndlovu says the firm's results demonstrate the company's ability to adapt to challenging environments and capitalize on opportunities.
We're actually looking at a business here that's really massively, or let me say that's nicely diversified across the region of that is the SADC region, and at the moment things are working quite well for them. And just coming also on the back of the opening up of trade in Africa, you know, that some other avenues of making money, not just in Zimbabwe alone, but just also across the region. So this diversification, you know, that's taking away a lot of risk that's happening in Zim and also into the region of Africa to some of the more stable countries across the region, is actually yielding results now, as we have seen. Mozambique and Zimbabwe itself, you know, combined, they did contribute more than 60% to the total revenue of the company, which is quite massive, you know, just factoring the effect of the inclusion of Mozambique itself.
Insurance contract revenue recorded a significant increase of 24% from $50 million to $61.86 million on the back of strong business growth in key business segments. Ndlovu also added that these results demonstrate the company's good management strategy.
Just looking also during the year, the company's good management, of course, did reflect also in the profit, in the overall profit itself. So we did see quite a reduction in some costs, and also the company did manage well, you know, the transition from using the Zimbabwean dollar to the US dollar. I did see some other results, you know, of some companies, you know, really losing massive amounts of money, running into millions of US dollars just based on the exchange rate factor itself. But Zimre did manage to keep their loss, you know, exchange rate losses at just under $1 million US, which is quite impressive.
And still on the economic landscape, Fidelity Life recorded $11.4 million in insurance contract revenue, an increase of 44% compared to prior years. On the premium inflow, the Zimbabwean operation contributed 68% for the year under review, compared to 62% in 2023, with 32% attributed to the Malawi operation, which contributed 38% in 2023. And speaking to ZTN Prime, a financial analyst, Musawenko Sidzeka, had this to say.
It's been a good year for Fidelity Life. In an environment where the traditional products are failing, Fidelity Life has managed to continue to innovate and provide value for its customers. Its insurance revenue grew by 44% to 11.4 million, primarily driven by the Vaka Yako product, contributing 85% to gross premiums written. That's about 8.63 million. And this shows the commitment of Fidelity to providing more value to retirees through households and stands and security in old age. The rest of the 15%, that's your funeral and annuities and the rest of life insurance products, where most insurers are competing for space, but then it has managed to create its own blue ocean strategy. Its investment income grew by around 9.1 million, also primarily driven by fair value gains on investment property, which is the consequence of investment in property. Some of those paper gains then come through to boost your P&L, but in actual value, there won't be actual cash in the hands of the assurer.
And from business, we'll move on to entertainment, and we'll give you a story on the huge send-off for comedian Maraba.
Didn't graduate? I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
That guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Music transcends boundaries, where rhythm and melody unite the hearts of people. Comes a show that celebrates the power of music like never before. Get ready to dive into a sonic journey that will leave you mesmerized and yearning for more. Welcome to the captivating world of Z-Vibes. Vibe to it, baby.
Hundreds of people gathered at Zinyengere Cemetery in Epworth today for the burial of comedian Charles Maraba Mpalume. The heartfelt send-off was a statement to Maraba's immense impact on the community and the entertainment industry. More in the following report. Known for his pioneering role in skits and street theatre, Maraba was not just an entertainer, he was a beloved figure who brought joy and laughter to many. His sudden passing on Saturday after a long illness left a profound void, and the overwhelming turnout at his funeral highlighted the deep affection and respect he garnered throughout his life. The affable actor was hailed as a hero in his community, evidenced by the thousands of mourners who came to pay their respects.
Right, vazhinji vacho vari kungonyepa vachitaura zvavanonyepa vachikwanisa kungomeka mari pamusoro pamarabha, but marabha wasi kukwanisa kumbomubatsira. Vashomanana vangoya nezvishomanana kwangoya about ndofunga 20 kgs dzenyama ne about 120 loaves ndo zvandaona izvo zvabatsirwa nevamwe vemacelebrity. But well, I'm saying kuti ndinokutendai chose nezvamaita izvozvo nekubatsira kuiga muningi wangu. That's all.
The turnout at the funeral was not only a reflection of Maraba's popularity, but also a reminder of the importance of community support.
Nyangwa hazvo zvichirema kazhinji kacho hatina zvatinogona kunge tichiita asi Mwari ndiwo anoziva vatipesanisa. Ndinoda kungoti ndamuri yeZimbabwe abatsira wese newese awana chaaita panhamo inoi mazvita.
As the community mourns the loss of Maraba, it also reflects on the vital role artists play in society. Fellow actor Forget Chaduka urged fans to support their stars in times of need.
Muri yeZimbabwe tinoti kurasikirwa kukuru namukoma Maraba. Maraba munhu wandakashanda naye, ndakatanga kumuziva kubva 2010. Takashanda tose, tine rimwe drama ratikatomboekitawo tese. Uye ndaitinini kana ndabuditsawo mutambo yangu. Iye abuditsawo wake munyowani, taitofonerana. Chaduka toenda unotengesera kupi, ndonguva yataitengesawo madhiski aye. Taigona kuti ngatimboenderai kwaMutare, hatiendei kuChegutu, hatiendei kuMasvingo, takafamba nzvimbo dzakawanda. Yotai tikasvikawo munzvimbo tichitengesawo mitambo yedu yatinenge taekta, taizowanawo cheuviri kubva pazviri.
Maraba's legacy lives on through the laughter and joy that he brought to countless lives, and his send-off serves as a poignant reminder of the impact one individual can have on a community. He is among the crop of Zimbabwean comedy pioneers who rose to fame alongside peers Freddy Manjalima, known as Kafupi, and the late Blessing Vingirai, known as Bondisi. Zim-Bangladesh test in balance. That story and more up ahead in sports.
They call me Racer X, or in this case, Racer J. Right.
Put your seatbelt on.
Dental checkups, experiments, games.
The mixture is making bubbles and the bubbles have changed color. Our balloon has been filled by carbon dioxide.
We have it all right here on Happy Sprouts. Catch us exclusively on City and Prime, DSTV channel 294.
Harare, tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
Zimbabwe nosed ahead of Bangladesh after the second day's play of the first test in Sylhet yesterday with half-centuries from Brian Bennett and Sean Williams. Their lower order and tail also resisted to add 80 runs for the last 4 wickets that got them a lead of 82. And they finished the day by breaking Bangladesh's opening stand, and the hosts are still 25 runs behind. Bangladesh's solace came in the form of Mehdi Hassan Miraz's first 5-wicket haul at home in nearly 2.5 years. And he finished with 5 for 52 after speedster Nahid Rana picked up 3 wickets, including those of the openers. And Zimbabwe strung together small partnerships after the opening stand of the 69, often dominating periods of play. Now, in news just received, Caps United coach Lloyd Chitembe is sitting on a 2-match ultimatum. This is after their defeat of Bikita Minerals yesterday. Their 4 points collected in the first 7 games of the season means this is their worst start to a season in over 2 decades. And Eddie Chikami will be giving us the detailed interview with Caps United president in tomorrow's edition of the Herald. And still on sport, the cheers have died down. The bruises will heal. But what now for the Lady Sables? Zimbabwe's senior women's rugby team touched down at Robert Mugabe International earlier today, battered, bruised and broke. After being mauled 63-7 by Uganda in their final match of the Rugby Africa Women's Cup Division 1 tournament in Ivory Coast, it was heartbreak of a different kind when they got home. The promised allowances still nowhere to be seen. They were told they would get their dues on arrival. Instead, it was more drama, this time off the pitch.
Well, in earnest, it seems like there's a little bit of a turmoil in the Lady Sables camp. Now, they have arrived back here in Zimbabwe, coming back from San Pedro in Cote d'Ivoire, where they were on duty for the Rugby Africa Cup Women's Division 1 tournament. Unfortunately, not able to progress to the Rugby Africa Cup main draw, where they would have met the likes of South Africa, Kenya and Madagascar, losing out to Tunisia in a very close encounter and losing out to Uganda quite heavily in the final match. Now, the major issue that is at hand is the fact that they have returned to Zimbabwe, but they've returned allowance-less, if there is a word that can be like that. No fees have been paid out to them for the duties that they did actually perform whilst in Cote d'Ivoire. Now, there was a little bit of an exchange while still in San Pedro, where the expectation was that they were going to be given their dues when they arrived home. They have arrived home, and currently we are reliably informed by some of the parents as well who have these girls who went on tour that no money has been provided. Now, we do understand that the situation is currently being mulled over by the chair lady of the Women's Rugby Committee, as well as ZRU president himself, Mr. Lawson Ntongwiza. So we'll get to hear how this story develops as it goes.
And it's not just the Lady Sables feeling the heat. The Junior Sables, Zimbabwe's under-20 men's rugby team, also took a hit in their quest for regional glory. They were outmuscled and outclassed by a ruthless Namibian outfit, losing 41-22 at Old Hararians in front of a stunned home crowd. Zimbabwe are hosting the Baths Trophy again this year, hoping to reclaim the crown. They surrendered to Kenya in 2024. We also got Ruvimbo Chakoreka to weigh in on that result and what it means for the Junior Sables campaign.
It seems like there's a lot to think about and a lot to try and get back on track in the Rugby Africa Under-20 Baths Trophy after that heavy defeat against Namibia, losing 41-22 on Saturday. Now, the performance from the boys was below par, to say the least, with many basic errors being committed by the boys, and hopefully Sean D'Souza and his technical team will be able to muster a solution in these 3 days, considering that on Wednesday they are going to be playing a not so bad Tunisian outfit that lost by just 8 points to Kenya, who are the defending champions. So right now Zimbabwe will be hoping that Namibia will lose out to Kenya, and then somehow, some way, Zimbabwe itself will be able to beat Kenya in the final match, and hope as well that Tunisia can also work.
Now, after many years of trying and failing, Simba Bora have finally broken their Luveve curse. The Kasolaga Premier Soccer League champions sealed their first ever win at Luveve Stadium since joining the top flight, edging Chicken Inn 1-0 on Monday afternoon. Isaka Guribab struck just a minute into the second half, punishing a moment of defensive lapse to hand Simba their first 3 points at the Bulawayo venue since 2023. And after the match, Simba Bora coach Joy Lupatla hailed his team's control and discipline, calling it a psychological win.
What I'm happy about is that these boys are able to grind results. It was not easy. Chicken Inn made it very difficult, but we are happy that also with our striker, who seems to be on form. He's scoring each and every game. He made the difference, and at times when you've got that quality, you only need one chance. You only need one moment to change the complexion of the game.
And that's a wrap on News Plus with me, Wadzanai Sansole. Thank you very much and good night from myself and the crew behind the scenes.